Well, Brian, you're 16 years old, you got your learner's permit. Your mom and I thought it was about time.
We thought you needed your own wheels. So happy birthday!
What? A Lamborghini? Are you kidding me?
Serious as a heart attack, my boy.
Because that's what he almost had when he got the bill from the insurance company.
I don't even know how to drive.
You deserve it, son.
At least that's what we tell ourselves so we can sleep at night. Hey, this is RKA, and this is another episode of Awkward Marketing. Because marketing your small business can be awkward, sometimes awful. I'll help you make it awesome. Hiring a fancy designer for your baby business's first website is kind of like giving your 16-year-old a Lamborghini to learn how to drive. Best case scenario, it's a waste of a good thing. Worst case scenario, it's an expensive mistake that'll cost you way more than money. And yeah, I'm a web designer who happens to own the domain don'thirewebdesigner.com. Check it out. And as a web designer, there's nothing that keeps me up at night quite like knowing a client is paying me big bucks to build them something that will be of little use to them. Which is why I'm not afraid to say to prospective clients, don't hire me. You might have heard me say before, a website is not a boomerang investment. When you invest in a new website, that money doesn't come right back to you and whack you in the face. If you're an entrepreneur in the first 1 to 2 years of business, you need a fancy custom website like a 16-year-old with a learner's permit needs a brand new Lamborghini. In fact, it's not just that hiring a web designer at this stage in business won't help you very much. Spending your business budget there could actually hurt you. The biggest way I see this investment hurting entrepreneurs is by becoming an expensive distraction, or in reality, an expensive form of procrastination, or as I like to say, brandcrastination. I made that up. You like it? Imagine this. You're starting a brand new business. You're excited. You're on fire. You're ready to take the world by storm. And you pour all your time, energy, and money into a brand and web design project. You spend weeks and months agonizing over the perfect logo, endlessly nitpicking website drafts, poring over your brand archetypes and your brand story, instead of focusing on creating a product or service that fills a true need in the marketplace and getting that product and service in front of the right audience. Then, by the time you finally launch your brand and website, you are so spent. You don't have the energy or the passion left over to market and promote your thing. And when your website doesn't act like a magic pill, you get frustrated. Or when you don't get overnight results, you consider it a sign that you're doing the wrong thing. Or you just run out of money, whichever happens first. So you throw in the towel before your business ever had a chance to get off the ground. Or it could look a little something like this. You build an entire brand and website around the hypothesis of what you think will resonate in the marketplace, but then when you actually start marketing and promoting it, you realize your audience wants something completely different, or they're drawn to you for totally different reasons than you originally thought, which means you have a digital space you can't use and you have to start from scratch, which means more time and money, both of which you might not have much more of. Either way, the story ends in small business defeat. But it doesn't have to be this way. Here's what I recommend instead. When you're getting started in business, you don't need a fancy custom designed website. You need a business plan. You need a marketing strategy. You need a simple DIY website. You need to get out in front of your audience sooner rather than later. You need to pour your time and energy not into a brand project, but in crafting a message that resonates with your audience and a customer experience that makes people start talking about you. You need to test your hypothesis that you've got something people are excited to buy. And then when you've done that, and people know your name and the money is flowing in and you start reaching the limits of what you can do with a DIY brand and website, that's when you call a brand and web designer, not a minute sooner. Until that day comes, I've got something for new businesses who want to rock the internet without spending money on a fancy designer. Head to don'thirewebdesigner.com and I will hook you up. And trust me, the day for your digital Lamborghini will come. And when it does, it will be glorious because you can actually enjoy it instead of worrying about crashing and burning, which can be a whole lot worse than awkward. Mommy loves you.
Be safe out there.